All right, folks, Fanciful Island here. I am Tito Jeff Thidoff. He is Chad Rink. Follow me on Twitter @ThatHappens. Follow him @Chad Ocho Rinko. We are on Fantasy Sports, powered by DSP Media. Download the app. It's free for Apple and Android users. And lots of new stuff we're adding all the time. Lots of new content, lots of good shows, and also some of the written stuff we have on fantasysports.com. Make sure you check it out there as well. Chad, how are you today, my friend?
I am doing well. How are you?
I'm good. And we're heading now as week 7 starting up here now. Week 6 in the books.
Went from week 6 to week 7.
7. There you go. That's for the younger crowd there. We're going to play to them today, which we owe, because we never, ever have old TV or music references. It would get no references at all to these younger people. Exactly. Okay, so week 6 in the books, week 7 now. We'll do our waiver wire talk. And first, we can get your thoughts on the overview, like the waiver wire guys we recommended last week. I mean, the Chargers situation played out. We weren't sure how it would play out. Right. I went Haskins in a couple leagues and obviously did not pay off for me.
No, and it was weird because I did not think Vidal would be getting the types of carries that he got. He's the more electric back. But, I mean, he looks like if he's still out there, go get him, because it sounds like Hampton's injury is going to be lasting a little bit longer. Mm-hmm. So if Vidal is still out there, I would grab him. But this week, you never know. It could. Right. Haskins could end up scoring 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, right. It was, but yeah, Vidal did look good, though. He hit more of the touches and everything. So, all right, let's start looking through some of the guys for this week. What position do you want to start with first?
We could hit quarterbacks. I don't think there's much there. I mean, it's really just going to be streaming on buys, I think, for most people in leagues, unless you're a 2-quarterback league. Jacoby Brissett could be interesting because I think at some point the Cardinals have to realize that Kyler Murray's not it. And they looked good with Brissett there. I just don't know if they're going to give him the reign the rest of the year.
Yeah, hard telling on that with the Arizona situation, because you would think that they will take it slow with Murray for a couple reasons. One, because you don't want anything long-term wrong with him, but also 2, not such a bad option having Jacoby out there, as we saw this past week.
It's not. And then I know, what is it, Call of Duty or whatever dropped, Battlefield or something.
Oh, that's one of those.
He got hurt. Yeah, so that's why he was out. So I'm telling you, if I'm the Cardinals, which I am not, I would just be like, hey, Murray's not our answer. Let's see if Brissett can at least maybe get us to the playoffs.
Is Aaron Rodgers a viable option?
I think he is. I mean, they got the Bengals this week, so this week he is definitely a viable option, especially if they go get a number 2. Like if they go get an Olave or maybe someone not like that level, but, someone like that they put on the other side. The Steelers have looked good. They're 4-1. That division is, I mean, they have 2 of the worst defenses in the NFL in that division. Right. And so I think he is. And I was talking to my son today, and we're talking kind of like who's like NFL MVP right now. We talked about Baker. I was like, if the Steelers go 13-4, like I think Aaron Rodgers could be in that talk.
I think he could be too. And it's like you have the difference between, MVP and offensive player of the year. Right. Different things. He's not offensive player of the year.
No,
but he could be MVP.
He could if they get 13 wins.
Yeah,
like I with everyone else, with Allen not being what he has been, Lamar hurt, Burrow hurt, Hurts not. Like, there's no one else. It's basically him and I think Baker's probably the front runner. I think right now,
right?
Unless they go a non-quarterback and someone like Jonathan Taylor, but.
Rodgers is completing almost 70% of his passes. He's got 10 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. And last year, he had a fantastic last 10 games of his season. So now you're looking at almost a full season of stats with him, which is when he really started playing well after about a year and change from his Achilles injury. And so he does look good. It looks like they're being very smart with how they're managing the offense with him out there.
Which is a good thing to do, because you got an early bye week now. So you've got the rest of the season with him. They're not going to ask him to do much. And he's doing Aaron Rodgers things. He's gonna put the ball on time in where it needs to be. They've got a good enough run game, and their defense is good enough. So they're not needing Rodgers to go out there and throw 45, 50 times a game.
Right.
So I think that they're doing the smart thing. Like, hey, Rodgers can win games. That shows you right now. And, I think he's a viable option going forward. But this week, if you need somebody, or if you don't have a good matchup, and you've got a place to grab Rodgers against the Bengals, that might be a smart move.
A short week on that one. Don't grab Flacco. No, Flacco played better than I thought against Green Bay, but still, I'm not going to trust Flacco, especially playing the Steelers, even though they are at home. Okay, let's move on to running backs now. And interesting development in Arizona because, we weren't sure who would go with, and it might be Bam Knight now, right?
Yeah, I think Knight and Carter had almost identical a number of carries, snaps. Bam got in the end zone, which made his day look better. But, if you don't have to take either of them, then I think that would be the way to go. Knight's probably going to be the goal line guy.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he's probably the one that's still out there. I think Carter probably got grabbed a couple weeks ago once Benson went down. So, if you have room, Bam Knight's not a bad flyer because, like I said, he could find the end zone pretty regularly. It's
an interesting week because of the bye weeks, because only two teams off this week. But there are two teams that had players drafted, Buffalo and Baltimore. Now, Baltimore, obviously, Lamar Jackson's has been off for several weeks now because of the injury. But you still got to worry about things like Derrick Henry and James Cook and Josh Allen and where to fill in guys like that. And with the running back situation out there, I still contend that, and it's Tyler Algier is still an option, I think.
Yeah, it wasn't a goal line touch. That was a 21-yard run. And Algier is a good running back. So he's a nice piece to put in a flex position. Or if you just need a running back, like we've got some big bye weeks, week 8, and I think week 10 and 12 are big ones with teams.
Yeah.
They're going to be off. So he's one that I don't mind because he's going to get touches. Like some of these other guys, you don't know how it's going to shake out. Tyler Algier is going to get the ball. And if something had to Bijan, he would be the guy and would be carrying it 20 times. One that I think can maybe look at because they just had a coaching change is if Tajay Spears is out there. We don't know what that's going to look like. Are they going to give him some more run with the new coaching staff in there? So he may be out there because he's been out for a minute, and I think he's a little bit more electric than Pollard, and he's going to be in the passing game some. So he could be one to kind of maybe grab and stash. Yeah, and it looks like they got New England this week, I believe they've got, and so I think Spears probably is the guy. Came back in week 5, didn't do much, but looked better this week. Had the 9 touches for 50 yards, and then somebody who there's 2 players I want to talk about that I liked, and now I'm not sure if I like them anymore, if I should like them, but Kenneth Gainwell and Woody Marks. Now, Woody Marks, we all thought would be, he had that good game. It's like, this could be the guy now. I'm not as convinced he will be anymore. No, and again, they were on bye, so we don't know what they're putting in place. But yeah, that offense line is bad. I think they're going to have to throw the ball a lot more. So if you have him, I would still keep him, and then maybe if he comes up with a decent game, maybe you could flip him. But yeah, I never thought he was going to be like this guy that's going to save your team. So but you never know. Like I said, he's still a rookie. They just come off bye, so it's still a small sample. But I think I'd rather have him than most of these other guys we're talking about. Okay, I think he's got the upside there. I don't. I don't know about him because I think a lot of people spent a lot of FAAB money on him. We first had that big week, which almost just like we look at real football, when you spend that much money on somebody, it's almost like you feel like you got to play him. You know what I mean? It's like you feel like, I got to play this guy. Look what I paid for him. Exactly. I got to play him. And we shouldn't look at it that way, but Gainwell had the big game over there in Ireland. And then Jalen Moore looked pretty good this week. Okay, not great, but Kenneth Gainwell did have 6 receptions, and I believe he outscored Warren, if I'm not mistaken. Do you Gainwell or Marks? I give you a chance. Which one do you want this week, and which one do you want the rest of the season? I think Gainwell this week because they're playing the Bengals. Right. I think Houston's on Monday night against Seattle. I think long term probably Gainwell. I think just because I think the Steelers are going to be better. They're going to score more. They're going to rely on the run more. And I think Caleb Johnson is not going to be a factor this year unless someone gets injured. Yeah, it's funny because when Tomlin came out and said recently that this guy's still going to be a factor for us, and it's just he's got to work his way into it and earn the time. You're right. Houston is in Seattle this week. That's the second of the 2 Monday night games. That's the 10 o'clock kick, which also means I won't see a single play of that game because it's 10 o'clock kick. All right, let's focus now down on receivers. There are receiver 2 jumping out at you like this is a guy I'm going to target this week because there's not really anybody that jumps out at me. Not really. I think if Kendrick Bourne is still out there, take a chance on him. But I think his his going to be tied to Mac Jones more than if Purdy comes back.
Mhm.
And I think Jennings is going to be coming back. I think Pearsall is another week away. Depending on how long Nakua is out, Jordan Whittingham is interesting because he's got some speed, and I think they're going to throw the ball a lot more just because of the Rams with Stafford. So Whittingham is interesting if Puka's going to be out for 3 to 4 weeks, and then maybe Tez Johnson. I like that Bucs receiver room.
It's amazing what their top 3 receivers were all out, and Baker's still doing incredible things in that game.
Yeah, they are the Niners of the NFC South.
Right. I just don't. So it's hard to say. Godwin is already out for week 7.
Yep.
Bowles already said that. Bucky Irving out again for week 7. I mean, the fact they're doing what they're doing says a lot about Bowles and a lot about Mayfield. But yeah, as far as the receivers go, I don't know which one. Is it Cameron Johnson? Is it Tez Johnson? Is it just?
Can we just might be out?
Shepard, Shepard's out with it too. But just put a waiver claim in. I think this would be a fun league. You just get everybody with that last name. So if you draft Johnson, you get everybody in the league whose last name is Johnson. So you have to go through and think about this strategically. Smith might be a good one. You get Geno Smith. I'm not sure the other Smiths are in the NFL off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's some. Anyway, but yeah, you go through and you do that, though. I think that's the best way to do it. And so, but yeah, put a claim in for Johnson's.
Exactly, Johnson.
Which feels weird saying that.
I was in a league where they just drafted like positions by teams.
Okay, so you tip they wide receivers or whatever. You get a wide receiver,
which is interesting. But yeah, so if you could do that on the waiver wire, just do that. So the one, and I don't know if there's anybody else really wide receiver wise.
There's no
Besh. He outsnapped Thornton.
For the Raiders?
Yeah, and he had like 5 targets, but I just don't know if that Raiders offense is any good.
Yeah, I can't tell on that one. They've been very inconsistent, and so they've got the Chiefs this week. Not an easy matchup necessarily. I like the Chiefs defense actually this week. We can talk about streaming some defense here in just a minute, but I think there's not a lot of it. When I look at just overall when I was doing some research for this, there's not a lot of great. There's no name to jump out there and grab like we have had in weeks past.
No, this is one I think I'd sit out the waiver wire this week, and then maybe if you need someone, pick up somebody that's out. I think a tight end that would be interesting is Cade Otton.
Okay.
All the wide receivers out. This could be a 7-8 reception Cade Otton week. So again, but I don't know if I'd go out and blow a bunch of FAAB or waste a top waiver claim on it, because I think there's been enough decent tight ends, and I don't know if anyone's going to really go out and seek Cade Otton this week.
Right.
But he's one if you're needing a tight end to grab.
Michael Meyer in for Vegas. That's another too, because we're not sure about the status yet on Bowers. I don't think they said any ruling on Bowers yet for this week. Have you heard anything about that or not?
I don't think not this week. I have heard. But Mayer's one that's going to be. They like to throw to him. I think he had a pretty decent week this week, so he's one. Isaiah Likely is always a guy that I like.
Mm-hmm.
But that Ravens are a mess right now.
Darren Waller found his way back into the end zone again. 2 catches, 12 yards, but one was a touchdown. If you got a tight end who scores a touchdown, I don't care if it's 1 for 1 with a 1-yard touchdown. That's perfect.
It is perfect, and that's why Taysom Hill is another one too. He scored this week, so
yeah, that's right. Taysom Hill's somebody you talked about. That's right. Yeah,
and he did not have a good week otherwise, but he did find the end zone.
So this week, I mentioned the Chiefs. I like the Chiefs defense against the Raiders this week. Is there another, if you look at streaming defenses, so you got to look at, the top ones obviously are going to be gongs on someone else's team. Right. So you got to look at people, and the Dolphins and Browns both going against the Dolphins and Browns feels like the Dolphins and the Browns are both good plays.
Yes. I don't, but the Dolphins are so bad against the run. I don't mind Cleveland defense this week because I'm not they're legit a good defense where the Dolphins are not. This is just maybe against Gabriel they get a pick 6 somehow or some fumbles. Again, I think Kansas City and Pittsburgh are probably already picked up. 2 that I like that might be out there. Jacksonville at home against the Rams without Nakua. Could be interesting because if you look, the Jacksonville defense, I think have scored around 8 to 12 points most weeks. I'm not sure about last week. And then I do like New England as a stream on the road at Tennessee. Whole new offense trying to get put in there. So that could be one that could be a little bit sneaky. I would say Minnesota come off bye if someone dropped them, but they are playing Philadelphia. And the way Philadelphia plays, they're not throwing the ball a lot.
Wait, who the hell knows about Philadelphia? You know, I mean, like, who knows what Philadelphia's offense is going to show up, you know, and when they'll show up. They could play great first quarter, great first half, and then just go completely in the tank. Where are you at on your Bears this week?
They're
hosting New Orleans.
They're hosting New Orleans.
Right.
So I don't mind that. They look pretty solid, especially now that they've got the guys in their secondary back. So Washington did not look great last night. So I don't mind the Bears against the Saints. Their offense is moving the ball. So I think they could be putting the Saints in some down by double digits. And the Saints have shown they'll throw the ball 40 times. And so give me a defense against Spencer Rattler if he's going to throw the ball 40, 45 times.
When you talked about the trade deadline stuff, you mentioned about the Steelers, maybe another receiver and whatnot, but it's interesting to me to see it's like you have to kind of be forward thinking. Do you think Alvin Kamara is going to get traded? And if so, to what team? And if it's a good situation, do you try to make a play for him now? Because he's clearly not falling out of favor. They love him there. It's just, they don't see the need to use them that much. They want to give as much work to Kendrick Miller as possible. Yeah.
And so those are ones I think, especially like this week, if you're looking at guys like maybe even Breece Hall, Alvin Kamara, Chris Olave, guys that you think on these teams, okay, these guys could get moved, and they're probably going to get moved to a decent team that's in the playoffs.
Right.
So I would try to make a move on either Kamara or Hall, because I think one of those guys ends up in a really good situation, maybe Pittsburgh, maybe Kansas City.
Right.
And you might get them on a little bit on the cheap as well. Especially if you're in a dynasty, Hall would be a target. I think I would kind of maybe look at.
Sure.
Those, I think I'd rather go that route with what's on the waiver wire this week. If you're really in dire straits of help, especially if you have 2 wins or really trying to make the playoffs.
Are you holding Travis Hunter, selling Travis Hunter, or buying Travis Hunter?
I am probably selling Travis Hunter. It sounds like this year dynasty I'm holding.
Sure, dynasty, yeah.
But I think this year, it sounds like they're just gonna they have him just in some package deals. They're going to play him in the one wide receiver spot. He will probably have a few games where he gets like 75 and a touchdown. I don't see him having like these breakout games,
right?
And then I don't think long term. So I think this year I would try to sell on Hunter if you have a buyer.
It was a short waiver wire. Why? Because there's not a lot of great guys on the waiver wire this week. And with the injuries and stuff, there's not a lot to talk about as far as that goes this week. We'll get more in depth on our rankings later on in the week. This has been Fantasy Football Island. I'm Tito, Jeff that off at It Happens. He is Chad Rink at Chad Ocho Rico. We're both on Twitter there. Find us there. Go to fantasysports.com. Check out the great new website. And then also download the app, free for Apple and Android users. And have a great week. Hopefully you don't need to make a lot of waiver claims. It will get bigger and better and more information as we go on. But week 7, just thanks.
Yep.